see everyone. Obviously today it's a Wednesday in the football calendar, and it's continuing to get our players to be game ready and everything, discipline, pre-snap penalties, all the nuances that go in what it takes to play winning football. And I think the biggest challenge is for our younger players to understand that the habits that they develop in practice are the habits that they're going to have in the game. So you're developing those habits, and game speed repetitions are very, very critical. Even a day like today, you always have to challenge your mind, you always have to challenge your body. And when we talk about practice really needs to mimic the adrenaline and the rush of true competition. And then when you get to the game becomes habitual. It becomes, the habits start to form. So that's really been the challenge this week and moving forward, is just doing the small details of what it takes to play winning football. And I'm excited to see our players perform Thursday night, see how they can handle a great environment in Neyland Stadium. And I'm excited for our fans as well and our student body. You can start to feel the excitement. But again, today is a very, very big day for us in preparation, in the process of being game ready and playing winning football Thursday night. So I'll answer any questions.
Start with Jimmy Hines and Mike Griffith, Rick Russo, and Paul Fortenberry.
Butch, I know that Galden was a nickel last year. He got moved to safety, and the screen's back at nickel. Do you think he's better suited for nickel, and how do you think he's done here?
We do. Rashad has done a very, very good job there. He puts him closer to the line of scrimmage. If you look at the evolution of football at all levels, the nickel has kind of become the third corner. Some teams even call it inside corner. But Rashad's strengths are being closer to the line of scrimmage into the football. And so he has the ability to cover, but also getting him at the line of scrimmage and really the second level of our defense, I think, has really helped us from an athletic standpoint, from a speed standpoint, and also from a tackling standpoint as well.
Butch, I would imagine that the guys are ready to hit somebody else besides Tennessee. What's their mindset now as game day finally approaches?
Just what I talked about, Rick, is working to fine-tune things and being game ready, and everyone taking responsibility for that with video study. It's been 94 degrees, it's been 95 plus, I want to say it was 98 with the field temperature yesterday. We've been forced at times to go inside, being able to adapt and adjust that sudden change. Again, this first game is the game of the unknowns. How can we communicate well? We have a number of players that will be playing for the first time, but also in the special teams game as well. So just another day to prepare and making sure we're taking care of our bodies and recovery, getting the required amount of sleep, everything that it takes for your body to perform on game day.
Coach, yesterday at practice.
Where's your Tigers hat?
Oh, I didn't wear it today. Yesterday at practice, the Circle of Life drill, I know you use that as a tool to fire up your team, but throwing Jared Garantano in there, I don't normally see quarterbacks in those types of drills. Can you talk about what that did, and do you think that had something to do with how sharp the quarterbacks looked after that drill yesterday?
Well, the look on his face was priceless. So just again, when we come to Circle Life, I want everyone to be on edge. I want everyone to be ready to go. And our captains actually requested that yesterday. So that was something, kind of a sudden change moment in practice. And hey, coach, let's start it off with Circle of Life. And that was great to see. And I do think that adds confidence as well. But I know the players enjoy that. But also, when you do those things, that gives them confidence in terms of the physicality into the contact phase, which we call the junction point. It gives them confidence.
Butch, you talked about coming into camp, one of the shortest fall camps you've been a part of. But was there something beneficial to having a quote-unquote Monday and Tuesday on the weekend to kind of have everyone focused in on football? You didn't have class, you didn't have study hall and things like that?
That's a good question and a very good point. Yes, it was, but you have to be careful as a coach that you don't mentally fatigue them, and you try to keep them here all day. What we try to do is really maintain an in-season routine. Everything is about routines. So we really tried to keep everything the same as though we were in school, but for them to be able to concentrate on football and really take their time in recovery and watch more video on their own, I thought that was extremely beneficial.
We got John Bryce, Grant Ramey, and Austin Bornheim next week.
Hey Butch, through the years, particularly at Central and Cincinnati, you played a lot of different midweek games. Do you feel like that's been an advantage or a resource for you in preparing for this Thursday's game? And then part two, I guess, would be, I don't know that we've seen Aaron Medley kick this preseason. What kind of camp has he had?
I do think it helps. You know, when we're at Central Michigan, even Cincinnati, we played almost on every day of the week. We played on a Monday, we played on a Tuesday, we played on a Wednesday, we played on a Thursday, and we played on a Friday. So I do think that helps a little bit, but when it's the first game of the year, you just always think in terms of a football calendar. So you kind of get your mindset, even though we just had a weekend for us, that was a weekday. But I do think it's helped in some regards, but that's a little minimized just because it's the first game of the year. But I did rely back on some of the things we did. In terms of Aaron Medley, he's had a very good camp, very, very consistent, has really worked on his consistency of 40 plus. And I think that's really helped him just from a consistency standpoint. Also the location of his kickoffs. He's really, really improved his leg strength. He's been very consistent throughout the course of training camp.
Grant Ramey.
Look, well, you talk so much about the 25 points and all that stuff over the offseason. Sitting here today, what makes you think this team will be a better team at closing out games, be a better team in the fourth quarter when it's a tight game?
We'll find out. That's why you play the games. We've practiced it, we've stressed it, but not only finishing games, but I think the challenge for this football team as well is the ability to start fast. If you look at the quality of opponents that we have prior to our bye week, it's one of the toughest schedules in the conference. When you look at not only within conference play, but out of conference play, it's going to be a great challenge for us. So it's not only finishing games off, but I think it's also starting fast as well. We've tried to manufacture as much end of the game type situations and build that confidence that they've been in those situations, whether it's overtime periods, whether it's 1 minute situations, every single clock scenario you could imagine. But it's one thing to practice it, but it's another to be able to execute and do it when the game is truly on the line. So we'll find out. Our players have done a good job with that. I think they've embraced those situations. But again, we'll see as the season progresses. But we have spent an inordinate amount of time on it in terms of meetings, in terms of structure and practice, and just making it a heightened awareness. But we also have to start fast as well.
Austin and John